Okay, welcome back. So before we move on to the next topic, we're going to introduce our first meditation. Okay, and so this is going to be a foundational meditation that we'll return to all the time, and it has many different layers, and because of that, it's a practice that can be as we are doing here, it's the first practice we'll do, totally a beginner's practice, and at the same time, it is actually a practice that can become deeper and deeper and deeper until it's actually the most advanced practice. And this is true for many practices in meditation, is that what most meditations are actually quite simple, theoretically or conceptually, but the deeper and deeper we go into it, the more profound the realizations and the more deep the experience becomes. So this can be something that can be it can fool us initially. We can say, that's not such an exciting meditation, or I didn't have, that amazing of an experience doing that meditation. And nowadays I have to say, there's some meditations out there, and I respect this, but they're sort of more like activations or empowerments, which I like to do sometimes, and it's great. And basically that's when somebody kind of very energetically brings you into a practice or brings you into a meditation with visualizations and stuff, and their energy and the visuals and everything really creates this, wow, that was an amazing ride. But that is not those things they can inspire us and they can stimulate our practice, but ultimately the most profound practice comes when we're meditating on our own, when we've taken the practice into our own hands and we are beginning to descend this slope into ever deepening practice. And as we do this, we have to understand it's not always going to be just straight deeper and deeper and deeper. There's going to be, oh, that was a really good practice. Oh, that wasn't so good. Oh, that was really good. And we can fall into, as you can see there, sort of a hedonic way of approaching meditation where, oh, it felt really good, so it's a good meditation. Oh, it felt really bad, so it's a bad meditation. And so that we have to approach meditation from a perspective that is not caught up in that experience. Now, you do have to have quality control in the sense of, am I doing the practice right? If you're just spinning out and doing something else, yeah, that was a bad meditation, and you should try and bring yourself back to the practice. But if it's in terms of, it didn't feel great, or my mind wasn't as clear today, or whatever it might be, that's going to come and go. That's karma. That's just the way that things are arising. And the practice is to just keep coming back, and throughout all of those experiences, continue to cultivate the practice. And that will, as we do that, over time, cumulatively, we will begin to go deeper into the practice. But on a daily basis or on a session-to-session basis, it can be all over the place to some extent. So we can't get caught up in that trip or constantly, chasing the next, spiritual hit. And people do this, and it can be inspiring for a while, but eventually you need to really settle into something that you can sustain yourself and that you can handle the ups and downs, because in a way, that's what you're cultivating in meditation, is an awareness that can sit with and be okay with the ups and downs and not be constantly searching for that next stimulus hit. And even a meditation can be a stimulus hit, And in a very consumer-oriented culture, a lot of times meditation teachers, and I understand this, feel the need to deliver something exciting and something, wowing, and in some ways that's a very skillful means, because if someone has a great experience the first time, it can bring them onto the path and bring them into the practice. But it's not a sustainable model for meditating. So with that being said, we're going to do a practice that is sort of the polar opposite of that, which is called settling body, speech, and mind, or settling body, energy, breath, and mind. And so on the simplest level, it's just what it sounds like. We, over the course of the meditation, settle our whole system, beginning in the body, moving into the speech, which is sort of the literally we are falling silent. We're not talking, and inner chatter is also quieting down. But also the respiration. And in Tantric Buddhism, speech, subtle energy, and breath are all very interrelated. And so, and you could, I mean, literally when we're talking, it's breath, and yet because of the noises and then the things that we assign to those noises, it becomes language and words and speech and so on. But you can see it's basically this flow of energy. And so we're settling that. And again, I love the image of the snow globe settling down, okay? And again, speaking to what we talked about before, about discovering this luminous consciousness, this thing that we already have, not that we're getting from somewhere else, this is how you do it. You just stop doing everything else, and you discover, you reveal, you uncover that which was already there beneath the chatter and the constant movement of your body, moving around, collecting the nuts. I kind of like that one, the squirrel collecting the nuts. The speech, constantly talking, constantly running, and the inner speech, the mind, constantly talking. And of course, when we're running around and we're living this stressful lifestyle, our prana, our energy is also all over the place. So just by settling it, that is a huge practice. And it's a much better way of relaxing and truly rejuvenating than turning on the TV or searching social media, all of these things that actually keep our mind and therefore our energy running. So the practice is quite simple. We bring our awareness in a very open and expansive way down into the body. And we just, by observing, by bringing mindfulness to the object of meditation, which initially is the body, you will notice that awareness has a settling effect. The stillness of the awareness comes in contact with the movement of the object, which is the body, the breath, or the mind in this case. And as those two come together, there's a settling. And you'll experience this yourself, but so first you begin settling the body, and then you'll move into an experience of the sensations in the body connected with the breathing. Because again, we say breath, and we think, oh yeah, I'll find my breath, but what is your breath? Your breath is, your breath by way of the sensations in your body. No other way. And then you label those sensations as, oh, that's the breath moving. So it's important to know that in meditation, because you need to know what you're attending to. And the way that you attend to the breath is by attending to the sensations that indicate the breath. Okay? So again, in this meditation, you can attend to the breath in the belly, in the whole body, or at the nostrils. And you can go between those. It's nice to begin in an expansive way, so maybe first beginning with the whole body, and then moving into the belly or the nostrils, and then finally with the mind, it's a not doing. It is just and for this meditation, with the breath, with the body and the breath, you may want your eyes initially closed, and you can even keep your eyes closed as you're beginning to settle the mind. But at a certain point in this meditation, it's taught that we open our eyes. And it can even be just slightly open, just slightly open, looking down. Or it can be kind of casually relaxed, but fully open, looking straight ahead, looking down, or even looking slightly upwards. And the reason for this is because we don't want to associate meditation as something that takes place within the head. Consciousness is not located in the head. We'll get into this in other discussions, but consciousness is pervasive, but we have the sense that it's here. We have the sense that it's behind our eyes. And so sometimes when we meditate with our eyes closed, we perpetuate that false understanding of how consciousness exists. Similarly, we tend to identify our outward appearances as like not spiritual, or the opposite of my inner, my inner spiritual life. And the final thing is that when we stand up from meditation, this is what we're dealing with, these appearances of our world. And so if we've cultivated a meditation that's exclusively with our eyes closed, then we may feel that, oh, when I'm walking around, I'm not meditating because I'd have to have my eyes closed to be meditating. But really, in this practice, we have to understand that the time off the cushion is always, almost always, unless we're in full-time retreat, going to be greater than the time on the cushion. And so we need to understand that those are actually very important times to practice. And if we're cultivating a meditation practice with the eyes open, then we're cultivating a practice that can be sustained to some degree in all circumstances. So for that reason, we rest our gaze vacantly in the space in front of us. So there's no object of your focus. If you need to in the beginning, you can pick a point on the ground or something like that, but eventually that will just tire out the mind. Better is to, because again, the meditation is not focused on the external environment. The eyes are open, but vacantly open, and not spaced out, not blurry. Well, may become blurry, but it's not like, just crossing your eyes or something like that. It is just vacantly resting in space with no particular object, but the focus is just the settling of the body, the breath, and the mind, and the resting as the mind settles. The final stage is to simply rest in the awareness that is left over right where it is, right as it is, right where it is. And the pith instruction for this practice is without distraction, going to and fro, and without grasping, getting caught on a thought train or something like that, or getting caught to like the posture or something, just grasping. Without distraction and without grasping, rest awareness right where it is. Rest awareness in its own place. Okay? So it's a not doing, and it's a discovering of awareness, a discovering of consciousness, a discovering of luminosity. Okay? So that's the practice. And then in the next video, we'll guide that practice for 24 minutes. And one note on the 24-minute thing is that I get this straight from my teacher, Alan Wallace, and he takes it from the ancient Indian tradition, where they actually measured the day in 24-minute segments. And so in the text, they'd say, okay, meditate for 1 gataka, which everyone knew is like 1 hour. For us, it would be an hour, but for them, the day was broken down into these 24-minute segments of gatakas. And so they said, good place to start, 1 gataka. So it is nice. It's 24 minutes. It's not too long. It's not too short. We can actually, get into the practice, but it's not overwhelming. Okay, so we'll step into this practice in the next video.